heart to learning, open up my heart to love. Help me to know myself and how I should learn. I open up to learning, I open up to joy. Help me.
Hi everyone, welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Well, we're still looking at these digital ID cards which the British central government are trying to impose upon us. And today, or in the last few days, there's been a statement from Guernsey saying, we're not sure about these digital ID cards. We haven't made a decision. But probably the first question for you is, well, where's Guernsey? Because it's not a name that you can hear every day. So let's have a look first of all and see where Guernsey is. Right, we're looking for Guernsey on the map. So let me just make this bigger so you can see exactly where Guernsey is. You can see there that it's off the coast of Britain, very close to France. And if I just make this a little bit bigger, you can probably see. Let me click on this one. Here you can see a little bit better. There's Guernsey in the middle of the English Channel, but well, more or less very close to France instead of us. So that's Guernsey, and it sits along with a number of other little islands, which here in the UK are known as the Channel Islands. Okay, the Channel Islands. So that's those. And if I click on this one, you can see there Channel Islands of Guernsey and Jersey. And we can read here, Guernsey is the second largest Channel Island located in the English Channel off the coast of Normandy, France. It is a British Crown dependency and forms part of the bailiwick of Guernsey. No idea, it's a name. A self-governing territory that includes several other islands, including Sark and Alderney. You can see there, yeah, Alderney. Yeah, there we are in the English Channel. Right, that's where Guernsey is. And they're mulling over, which just means deciding whether they want ID cards or not. So let's just go over and see what the news is telling us. Right, and here you can read the headline. It says, no decision on digital ID cards for Guernsey. This is turning into a little bit like Eurovision, isn't it? We're all having our favourite opinion. Right, let's see. So this is what Guernsey, that tiny little island, is saying about ID cards. Let's read through this. So there has been no decision on whether to introduce digital ID cards in Guernsey, the chief minister says. Now, let me just pause there for a moment because it doesn't sound like this is going to be. Um, it doesn't sound like this is going to be optional. I mean, the British government, the central government, have said, we look after borders, we will introduce this. It doesn't sound like you can have a choice, but yet Scotland is saying, actually, a British ID card, no thank you. Northern Ireland have said, well, actually, no, thanks. And they've been very clear. And now we have Guernsey saying, well, we haven't decided. But it's very odd because it's not something which you can decide upon. The British government is going to bring it in, whether we want it or not, according to them. So let's read and see what they say. There has been no decision on whether to introduce digital ID cards in Guernsey. the chief minister says, Deputy Lindsay de Sousmare's comments follow plans announced by Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer to roll out such a system in the UK, which would be mandatory in order to work there. So I like the idea that we're all deciding, well, yeah, thanks for the offer, but no thanks. It doesn't sound like we actually have a choice. Sakia said the new digital ID scheme would make it tougher to work in the UK illegally and offers countless benefits to citizens, while his senior minister Darren Jones said it could be the bedrock of the modern state. That's really not appealing. Bedrock of a modern state? No thanks. Anyway, these countless benefits apparently is for when I go to buy my whiskey, if they ask me how old I am, which never happens. It says here, however, opposition parties argued the proposals would not stop people crossing the English Channel in small boats. And millions of people have signed the petition against the proposal. De Sosmares, president of the Policy and Resources Committee, said she has taken note of the UK announcement. She says, we will seek clarity on any implications for islanders, she said. And then it goes on to say the plans are part of the Labour government's drive to tackle illegal migration. If approved, the digital IDs will take the form of an app-based system stored on smartphones in a similar way to the NHS app or digital bank cards. Yeah, and we're just going to go down a little bit. So Tony Blair attempted to bring in mandatory UK ID cards when he was Prime Minister, but that was scrapped in 2010. A consultation on the idea is expected later this year, with legislation being brought to the UK Parliament in early 2026. So Guernsey is saying, well, we haven't decided, although the British government is saying that it will be mandatory. So you can see here that no one is really taking this seriously. Scotland saying, no. Ireland, Northern Ireland is saying, well, no. Wales is saying, really? No. And here we are with Guernsey, and they also are having a little discussion about it, and they've not made a decision. But what's interesting for me is that they think they have a decision to make. You would think the central government would just wave its hand and say, we're doing it, but it's not so straightforward. And probably if they ever bring it out, it's going to be optional. I think that's the only way they're going to be able to do this. But at least you've learned where Guernsey is. And before we finish today, let's just look at the parliamentary website and see how many people have signed the petition for a debate to take place. Right, here we are again. This is a parliamentary website. So let's have a look and see. It says here, do not introduce digital ID cards on the government's petition website. We demand that the UK government immediately commit to not introducing digital ID cards. And we're up at 2,826,080. Oh, it's changed. 88 signatures, and it's just jumped to 91. So they only needed 100,000 for that to be debated, and the government has already responded and waiting for 14 days for a debate date. The government have responded on the 2nd of October. We read that the other day, saying that they're going to do it anyway. So that's the story. Lots of people saying no. As you can see, this figure is jumping every few seconds. So yeah, many people are upset, and this figure is rapidly approaching the 3 million mark. So there we are. Will it ever get off the ground? Will we ever get digital ID cards? Well, I suppose they'll give us something. I don't think it's going to go away, but they might just give it to immigrants. And Guernsey is busy deciding. So I love the way we make our own decisions about this. For those of you who are wondering, then, does the central government actually have any power? Less and less in these days. More and more places really don't want to be associated with the central government in London, but they are still responsible for our borders. I think some taxation and some healthcare as well, but it doesn't look like they're very popular at this moment in time. Right, that's it from me. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.